Coach Steph. Welcome to this episode. Today I'm going to be talking about can I still eat carbs and lose weight? And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that and exactly how I teach my clients to do that inside the Fit Figure formula. So if you're watching the replay, just type in replay in the comments if you have questions about eating carbs, lowering your A1C, because honestly, the tips are going to be pretty much the same. There's only just a few more things that you might need to know if you're trying to lower your A1C, but the habits are literally identical to what I'm going to teach you today. So if you're watching, say hello. Tell me what state you are tuning in from. I happen to be in Texas. And that's why I got a tank top on. It's hot outside. It's 80 degrees right now. This is why I love living in the South. So let me know where you're tuning in from and what state you're in, or even what country that you're in. Um, I have a few announcements. So, first of all, the Fit Figure formula, the February enrollment is closing soon. The last day to enroll is February 14th, which is this coming Friday. However, I looked at my calendar for this coming week, and my calendar is like almost full. I know Monday, Tuesdays, I don't think I have any time. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday, I might have some time. And typically on Fridays, I don't even take calls, but I will take a sales call if you guys are interested in hopping on and deciding whether or not you want to join the Fit Figure formula. But I did open up some time this weekend. So because my schedule is getting packed, like if you're watching this in real time, it's February 7th. You have 1 week, technically 1 week to apply to the Fit Figure formula, but I hardly have any time on my schedule next week for you to even book a call. So I would go ahead and head to the link in the comments that's pinned and just apply. If you have been wondering, can I afford this? Is this for me? Wondering about the details, you can DM me. You can go ahead and just book your call. This is a no pressure call. But if you know you want to lose weight, you want to get lean, you want to lower your A1C, you want to make this a lifestyle, you want to feel better in your body, you want to fit in clothes that you haven't been able to fit in a while. If you want to, look good standing next to your husband, whatever it is, then just apply and let's chat more about it instead of you watching me every week wondering if this is the right decision, right? Indecision doesn't feel good. I would rather you book the call and be like, you know what, that is not the right fit for me. And I'd be like, yes, okay, great. Like at least you made a decision versus just not knowing and thinking about it, doing some more research. Like, let's just know whether or not this is the right thing for you or not. But I'm letting you know this because my schedule is filling up and you might not be able to get a slot to book a call. So right now, I went ahead and opened up some Saturday slots. I opened up some Sunday slots. So if you book a call this weekend, do not show up to the call because I'm gonna be mad. I ain't gonna lie. But if you're really interested in joining the formula and getting my help, you're not gonna find another program like this on the internet. Then you should book your call with the link in the comments if you're watching on Facebook. So, or if you can't find it, girl, just DM me. Just DM me and I'll send you the link and we can book your call sooner rather than later so that you can actually get a slot to talk to me about joining. So again, that deadline is February 14th. So you have 7 more days technically, but my slots for my schedule are very limited because I have lots of things going on. It's the new year. I've been super duper busy, but in a good way. So go ahead and book your call. I would love to talk more about helping you inside the formula. What else? Fit Figure Formula merch is out. So if you want some cute gear, you can head to my profile, click the link in the bio, and you can check out the Fit Figure Formula store. Obviously, the podcast is back, so make sure you're listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. We have a 7-day self-love challenge coming up inside the Facebook group. Super excited about that. So all you got to do is just be a part of my free Facebook group And this is starting February 16th. So that's the Sunday right after Valentine's Day. You can join, and I'll try to tag and use the like at everyone symbol so that it will tag everyone that wants to participate in the self-love challenge. So if you know you struggle with loving yourself, I'm just going to give you a short video to watch, and then you'll have a task that by the end of the week will start your journey from or to, like, so let's say your self-love is on a out of 5. Start your journey from that 5 to 6 or that 6 to 7, just by paying attention to you, giving yourself credit for what you are already doing, for what you already have, and you can grow from there. So imagine starting a self-love or a weight loss journey from self-love. I want you to feel how different that feels when you think about starting a weight loss journey from love instead of trying to fix something that's wrong. Totally different energy when you anchor into, how can I love myself really well? How can I love myself by feeding myself well, by moving well, by forgiving myself, by giving myself compassion? That's a life changing perspective that never ends. It doesn't have an expiration date. It doesn't stop when the scale says a certain number. So that's going to be an awesome 7-day challenge inside the Facebook group. So if you're not in my Facebook group, you should be in there. Even if you're listening to this and this technically has passed, it'll still be up in the Facebook group. So make sure that you're in there. What else? Any other announcements that I can think of? You can be a subscriber. So I just figured this out on my podcast. I When you follow my podcast, you can actually just be a monthly subscriber and support the podcast. So that's something fun that I just figured out today. So if you maybe are not ready to join the formula, or you've been getting a lot of value from my content and this has been helping you, but you're not inside the formula and it's not the right time for you, you can support the podcast, support the Fit Figure formula, support my efforts and bringing you all this amazing, valuable information every single week, and support the podcast. I think there's like a minimum of like $3 up to like $10 of a monthly subscription. So you can support the podcast in that way as well. So I really would appreciate that. I will definitely be giving you a shout out on the podcast if you do that. So I appreciate that. All right. So let's get into the topic today. So I'm talking about how to eat carbs and still lose weight, because there is a myth that you have to cut out carbs in order to see results. And my clients do not cut out any foods. They are able to eat whatever they want. And when I say whatever they want, I mean whatever they want. I never tell them don't eat certain things. But because they are able to manage their mindset and they actually understand their nutrition, they can have what they want in the correct portions within the, guidelines, and still see results. I was just talking to a client who's in her like 4th week. She has lost 8 pounds. Okay. She is a busy mom. She has a career. She has 2 boys that are in sports. So on the weekends, she's out, at the kids' sporting events. And she has just started pre-planning. And when she's doing her pre-planning, she's like, oh, what I'm learning is I can make swaps. If I'm like, oh, I have, somebody brought me something in for work, and I decided to have it. She made the swap and she can see clearly, yeah, this fits in and how much. And this gives you more freedom. This way you're not scared to eat, so that you don't cut out all sugar, but then you also know how much to eat. So you're not just like, well, screw it, I'm eating this, let me just eat all of it instead. It gives you so much more power. She's going to be on the podcast really soon. I'm very excited to interview her soon. Speaking of which, another announcement next week, I believe on the 12th, we have a special guest, Sade Kelly. She's a time management coach. So make sure that you guys go to the group. I posted something that said, like, what issues do you have with time management and taking care of yourself and your health journey or something like that. So let me know, what questions should I be asking the time management coach so that you can learn how to be more productive, more efficient. And that's going to free up so much more time for you to do like whatever you want to do. Let me know if you have any questions about that, so that I can ask her on the call. But so you do not have to cut out food. Okay. You do not have to cut out carbs in order to lose weight. And I'm going to give you 10 tips. And these are going to be really good. You're going to want to save this. You're going to want to watch this back. If you're watching in a way that you can share, go ahead and share this too. So number one, prioritize high fiber carbs. Normally when we say, oh, we got to cut out carbs, I can't eat carbs, you're really talking about added sugar. That's what you're talking about. So I want you to think of carbohydrates as like kids' blocks, right? You have an individual block, and then if you string individual blocks together and you hook them up as you would if you were like making a tower or something as a kid, that's a carbohydrate, and the individual block is the sugar. So we need to be eating more carbohydrates that are hooked together. They're carbohydrates. They're not added single sugar. And how we do this is by choosing carbohydrates that have whole grains, that have 3 grams of fiber or more per serving. So if it's something that comes in a package, for example, waffles, tortillas, English muffins, bread, make sure when you go to the grocery store that it has 3 grams of fiber or more per serving. Then, of course, when we're talking about vegetables and legumes and brown rice and quinoa and lentils and oats and single ingredient whole carbohydrates are going to also automatically have fiber. So you don't have to worry too much about those. But if it's a carbohydrate food, you want to look and see if it has 3 grams of fiber or more. This is so important because when you focus on having fiber, you'll naturally cut out the added sugar that is what is causing inflammation and more sugar cravings and added calories that you don't need that lead to weight gain. Okay, so that is tip number 1. Eat carbs that have high fiber. Okay, so this means be planning your food, like plan your meals out. So number 1, a lot of you guys are not planning. You're just, oh, it's 6 p.m. I'm hungry. What to eat? And you have no vegetables, or you don't feel like cooking those vegetables, and you end up just eating the most convenient thing. So that one tip is going to save you guys a lot. Plan your food and plan some high fiber foods in your diet. Number 2, time your carbohydrates around your workouts. Now, don't overthink this. When you eat carbohydrates before or after a walk or a workout, this helps not only fuel your performance and your muscle recovery, but also it helps to utilize those carbohydrates for energy instead of being stored as fat. So if you, again, planning is really important. Plan out your meals. And if you want to have a meal or a snack that has a little bit more carbs or something that might have, added sugar, plan that around your walks or your workouts. Again, don't overthink this, 1 or 2 hours before or after, right? Don't get too much in the weeds in terms of like the exact time. It'll be fine, but just be strategic. Put that higher carb meal or snack around a walk or a workout. So this could be something that you could develop as a ritual as a family. After dinner, we take a 10-minute walk. That could be a great ritual for you and your family to start. And it's something very simple to do. I have my walking pad. I don't know if y'all can see that behind me, but I have my walking pad. You can get on your walking pad, your treadmill, because a lot of y'all treadmills got clothes hanging on it. It's got dust on it. Okay. And you can just use that or go outside and get some fresh air, take a walk, do a workout before or after you eat a higher carb meal. Okay. So then number 3, portion control matters. You don't have to eliminate carbs. You just have to be mindful of your portion size. So I can make someone a 3,000 calorie diet and I can make someone a 1,200 calorie diet with the exact same foods. However, the portion size is going to matter the most. So when you think about carbohydrates, a general rule of thumb is half a cup or less. Okay. So I really want you guys to actually measure this out. Because when you have carbohydrates, so this means like cereal, okay? Cereal, oatmeal, pasta. I want you to literally measure out half a cup. Because I guarantee you, y'all's portion sizes are too big. Or you're even having 2 carbohydrates, right? So maybe you're having like potatoes and corn, or you're having I don't know why I can't think of any other carbs right now, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. You're having 2 carbs. You need a vegetable, like a non-starchy vegetable. Now, non-starchy vegetables still have some carbs, but not as many as like something like potatoes or peas or something like that. Like that's another good example. So make sure that your portions are half a cup or less just in general. Now, once you start, I teach my clients to look at the label and see what an actual serving size of that item is. And so we utilize that and we measure it in grams. But just in general, if you just want to start like monitoring your portions, making sure you have a half cup or less. Okay. Y'all drop any questions that you have in the chat and let me know if I can answer any questions for you. All right. So number 1 was prioritize high fiber carbs. Number 2, time your carbohydrates around your workouts. 3, portion control. And then 4, we just want to choose nutrient dense carbs over processed ones. So we want to swap out our refined carbs, the carbs that don't have 3 grams of fiber or more, our sugary snacks, our breads, our pastas, etc., that don't have 3 grams of fiber or more, for more nutrient dense ones like sweet potatoes, beans, fruit, things like that, right? So this is going to help you give you some energy without your blood sugar increasing really quickly and then dropping really quickly. Okay. So when we eat actual food, okay, I give this example all the time about an apple versus like a Cheez-It. A Cheez-It is manufactured, it's made, who knows what that really is, because it's not food, you can't farm it, right? Like, think about foods that you can actually grow out of the ground. Those are going to be the most wholesome for you. So if you are constantly eating stuff that you have to open out of a package, there's your telltale sign that you're eating a lot of processed foods that probably have added ingredients, added preservatives, possibly added sugar, etc. So make sure that you are, again, planning, and then also making sure that you are focusing on nutrient dense carbohydrates. Okay. So that is tip number 4. And you know what? Oh, okay. All right. Hey, if someone's watching, can you just say hi? Because it says 2 people, but then it says viewers 0. So let me know if anybody's watching. And I'm going to actually try. Let me see if it'll let me at everyone ever. It might not let me. Nope, it won't let me. Okay, that's good. So let me know if you have any questions about this. I just gave out some really good tips. All right, so let's go to tip number 5. Pair your carbohydrates and protein with protein or healthy fat. So combining carbohydrates with protein or healthy fat helps to slow digestion and keeps you full longer. It helps your blood sugars from increasing. And the reason why the blood sugar thing even matters, let me just kind of explain the process. Okay. When we eat carbohydrates, remember I likened it to a kid's blocks, right? We have our single blocks, and then we have, if we hook those blocks together in a long string, like we're making a tower, those are the carbohydrates, right? So when we eat a carbohydrate, our body breaks that down into the single blocks again. Okay. Those blocks go into the bloodstream, and our pancreas spits out insulin. Now, if you eat a whole bunch of individual blocks or individual sugars, all of that's going into the bloodstream pretty quickly because it doesn't take long for it to be processed and absorbed into the body. Your body is going to spit out insulin, which is like the UPS driver that takes the sugar to your muscles and knocks on the door and says, "Hey, take this and do something with it." It's either going to do work with it, like use it for energy, or it's going to say, "Hey, I don't need any more of this. Let me store this as fat." Fat is just stored energy. It's just the energy that you ate that you didn't need at the time. So your body's like, "Okay, I don't want to like throw this away or anything. Let me just store this out for later." Okay. So that's what's happening. So when we're eating carbohydrates that are in a long chain, our body has to go and unhook each one of those blocks. And so that blood sugar, the sugar is going into your blood one at a time, right? Versus if you're eating added sugar, all those blocks going into all your bloodstream all at one time. Now you're spitting out a lot of insulin. Now you have lots of UPS drivers taking the sugar into the muscles, and your muscles don't need all of that, right? But if you are eating carbohydrates that have 3 grams of fiber or more, and or pairing it with protein or healthy fat, that helps to mitigate the response. It helps to mitigate the individual sugars going into your bloodstream so fast, so that there's not so much insulin trying to deposit the sugar to the muscle all at one time. Does that make sense? Did y'all catch that? Let me know in the chat. So let's say you're having cake or you're having a cookie, right? Having it with some protein or healthy fat is actually going to help mitigate that insulin response, that blood sugar spike. Okay. Same thing though with like an apple. Even though a whole apple will have fiber, if you can have that apple with some peanut butter, almond butter, beef jerky stick, something, Greek yogurt, that's going to help manage your blood sugars better. This is going to help you with your A1C for those of you who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And it's also just going to help with whether or not your body tends to store most of that energy as fat or utilizes it for energy. Now you go on that walk. Okay. So let's say you have an apple, right? That apple has fiber. You have your peanut butter with your apple. That's going to help. Then you go on a walk. Okay. And do you see how you can do all 3 of those things to help with your blood sugar? And your body's going to be using that for energy, especially with the walk or workout. It's going to be using it for energy instead of just storing it. Okay. So y'all let me know if that makes sense at all. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. Okay. So pair your carbohydrates with protein and or healthy fat. Now, 6th one is don't fear fruit. So I do not like it when people say do not eat fruit. I'm just like, what is happening right now? Berries, oranges, bananas, even apples, like they are full of fiber and antioxidants that not only can support weight loss, but also can help you ward off cancer. Like I did a workshop on the anti-inflammatory diet. I talked about the pigment in the food, and the colors, the red, the blues, the whites, the purples, and how all of those have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties, and we need to be eating those. Now, when it comes to fruit, it does have it's a carbohydrate, right? So it does have sugar in it. However, it's all about moderation, that portion control, remember half a cup or less, and adding it with your protein or healthy fat, taking a walk afterwards. Now, when I used to work clinical nutrition, I used to do like diabetic educations in acute care hospitals. And that was like one of my favorite things. I really liked to teach about that. And I don't know, some people didn't know that fruit was a carb, but also some people didn't know that like milk and milk, like Greek yogurt, even Greek yogurt, has carbohydrates in it. So it's not that you can't have carbs. It's just that you want to make sure that you're utilizing a few of these tips that I'm giving you today. I promise you it'll make a world of difference in your blood sugars and in your weight journey too. So number 8 is opt for high volume carbohydrates. So vegetables like zucchini, spaghetti squash, cauliflower, broccoli, those non-starchy vegetables help you to be able to eat more food with fewer calories and fewer carbohydrates. It's going to feel satisfying. You're not going to be hungry. It's going to be really hard to eat or overeat zucchini, right? And so if you are that person who's like, ooh, I don't really like that many vegetables, here's what I tell my clients. One new recipe per week. And this recipe doesn't have to be like a whole meal. It can be something as simple as, maybe you've never sauteed spinach before. This is something that literally I think I probably had before, but I don't know if I ever made it. And I thoroughly enjoy it. Now, that might sound crazy because I'm like, don't be so excited about spinach, Stephanie. But it was actually really good. I think I was making some lemon pepper wings and I was like, what should I make with it? I polled you guys and you guys told me about a just doing some sauteed spinach, and I did it and it was really good. Put a little garlic salt on there. That's all I needed. Some red pepper flakes. I put a little bit on that on there too with some olive oil. Boom. When I say super easy, and it was really yummy. So when I say a recipe, it can literally be you put some spinach and garlic, salt, and olive oil in a pan and turn on the oven. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. So try something new. I have a couple of recipes. If you're on my email list, I've been sending out my recipe book. So make sure y'all open those emails. There's some recipes for like roasted Brussels sprouts. Super simple. Really, really good. There's one in there for roasted carrots. Again, I wouldn't be super excited about carrots, right? But when you roast them, and I think it had like rosemary or something on it, it was so easy and it was really yummy. So definitely try out different ways of making your vegetables, seasoning your vegetables. Don't give up trying new things. But if you utilize your high volume foods, those non-starchy vegetables, you will not only be able to eat more food, you will be satisfied, you'll be nourishing your body. You're going to feel so good, like getting in like lots of fruits and vegetables. And it's not a lot of calories. So you can eat that pretty much. I mean, like I said, it's hard to overdo eating zucchini. Okay. And so you can make them yummy. So don't just think that, oh, vegetables, there's no way that I can make them to where I'm actually going to like them, or that's health food. Pinterest is your best friend. Try things, like have an open mind and try some new vegetables. They're super easy to make. Like those types of vegetables tend to be pretty simple for anybody to make. So I would definitely try that. They're going to be low calorie and low carb to help you have carbohydrates, but still reach your health and fitness goals. Okay. So number 9 is limit liquid carbohydrates. So drinking soda, juice, sugary coffee drinks with added calories, you don't want to drink your calories or your carbohydrates. Okay. So opt for whole foods instead of drinking your carbohydrates. So I have had clients before. One of my clients, Jennifer, you guys have seen her on the podcast, and you've probably seen me share some of her photos that she allowed me to share, of course. But she was drinking at least 2 sodas a day. I never said, don't drink soda, Jennifer. I just said, okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on getting X amount of water a day first. We're going to focus on planning out your meals, eating her formula meals, eventually getting her macros in. And she naturally stopped drinking as much soda. And she lost 30 pounds with me. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're not drinking your calories. Remember those blocks I told you about? When you're drinking liquid calories, those definitely are the little blocks. They are simple sugars. They're just going into your bloodstream very quickly. The insulin is being secreted and is taking it to your muscles, and it's just storing it. Okay. So you just want to make sure that you're saving your carbohydrates and saving your calories for actual food so you can feel more satisfied. And if you do, on occasion, have liquid carbohydrates, you want to choose a smaller can of soda. You don't have to get the, Route 44 big lemonade or whatever from Sonic. You can get a smaller version. You can kind of, especially a lot of these places that use a lot of that heavy syrup, you can water some of this down, because when I do get something sugary, which is not very often, I'm always shocked at the size. I'm like, this is a medium? Like, it's huge. It is huge. And I had gotten into the habit of drinking Starbucks. I don't even like coffee. But of course, what I had in there had like caramel and whatever kind of milk and stuff they put in there, just a whole bunch of other stuff. It wasn't even the coffee that I liked. It was just all of the other stuff. And I looked at the back of one of those like mocha frappuccinos, and it had like 30 grams of sugar. And I was like, you know what? I got to stop drinking those. Yeah, I got to stop drinking those. So for those of you who are struggling with inflammation, this is huge for you. If you want to feel better, if you want to stop being achy, if you want to stop craving sugar, you think that you're just addicted to sugar. But especially if you're starting off in the morning with these sugary drinks in the morning, and you're not eating. So this is going back to what I said earlier about making sure you have a protein or a healthy fat. Some of you guys are just going through the Starbucks drive-through and getting these sugary coffee drinks, and it's a whole bunch of sugar that you're dumping into your system without eating any food. And then you wonder why all you want is carbs all day. Because when you eat carbs, you just want more carbs, especially if they're simple sugars. You want to make sure that you're looking for fiber. You're choosing high volume foods, that you are pairing your carbohydrates with protein or healthy fat, and that you're taking a walk before or after a high carb meal or snack. Okay. Okay. And then number 10, focus on long-term consistency. Carbs do not make you gain fat necessarily. Okay. But overeating them does. So I do want to say that whenever you eat carbohydrates and your muscles store those carbs as glycogen, it's bonded to water, which is why if you've been eating a lot of carbs and your body is storing it as glycogen, you might look puffy. You might notice that you're a little puffy. You might not notice that. But when you stop having those and you're like, maybe you go keto or you stop eating as many carbohydrates, that first scale weight that you see that like is going down is not necessarily all fat. A lot of it is your glycogen stores, that carbohydrate is being used up and that water is now being released. So a lot of what you're seeing is your water weight being released. So understand that the scale, number one, doesn't tell you specifically fat all the time, whether it's going up or down. Just eating carbohydrates does not make you gain fat, but overeating them does. The key is really finding balance that fits your goals and your lifestyle instead of extreme restrictions. Because a lot of the times, if you're binging on carbs, it's because you started with the restriction. You doing no sugar November, no sugar no January or whatever is causing you now to overdo, and it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable when you're telling yourself, I'm never going to eat any cake. I'm never going to eat any cookies. I'm not going to eat any sugar. Because when you go back to eating it, you still haven't developed the discipline. That doesn't help you. That does not create discipline at all. It actually fuels a binge just coming. So eating carbohydrates strategically can fuel your body. It can boost your metabolism. It can help you with sustainable weight loss, but you have to understand your food. This is what I teach my clients inside the formula. You're going to actually understand your food. This is going to give you more freedom to eat more of the things that you like, because you're not just cutting out sugar. You're not just cutting out a mealtime. You're not just only eating from 5 to 6 during the day because you don't understand your nutrition. And it's not hard, y'all. It's not hard. It's something that you are going to need to do. No matter what diet you choose to be on, understanding your nutrition is really important. All right. So I would love to answer any questions that you might have. Y'all let me know if you have any questions. If you're watching the replay, you can type those in the chat. If you're watching or listening to this on the podcast and you're on Spotify, you can leave me a comment. They added that feature. So leave me a comment, leave me a question. I'd be happy to answer those for you. Again, I want to remind you of some of the announcements from the beginning. Make sure that you are coming to the 7-day free self-love challenge inside the Facebook group. Go ahead and book your call to join the Fit Figure Formula. I'm telling y'all, I do not have much time next week to book your call. So for those of you who like to be last minute Nancy's, you might not have a spot because my calendar is pretty full. So I did open up some spots for Saturday and Sunday. Now, if you book these calls on Saturday and Sunday, make sure you show up. But I did open up those spots and I want you to apply if you've been struggling, and let me help you finally nip this in the bud and feel good and fit in your clothes and, have the energy that you want instead of walking around dragging yourself throughout the day, every day, because you don't have enough energy because you're not fueling yourself properly. Okay. So, I would love to see your application come through. Let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully if this was helpful, type in the chat and let me know if it was helpful. All right. Hopefully. All right, cool. Have a good one. I'll see you guys next week when I interview Sade Kelly for the time management live. All right.